What's going on, everybody? Dottz Gaming here, and today I want to make a video covering the World of Warcraft Shadowlands new player experience. MMOs, as we all know, are typically, I would say, one of the harder genres of games for new players to get into, simply because there's a lot of systems, lots of things that kind of get thrown at you at once, and it can seem very overwhelming very quickly. And if you are somebody who has started WoW and is a little overwhelmed, I do have a World of Warcraft complete beginner guide that covers basically everything you could need to know about WoW from a new player's perspective. So you can feel free to click the card in the top right of the video to go straight to that. But what I want to be talking about today is the built-in to the game WoW newbie experience. How well do they teach you? How well do they get you started? And this is one thing that I've always typically criticized MMOs for. I feel like most MMOs honestly do a pretty poor job at getting their new players into the game. But with that being said, WoW has done an amazing job with their new player experience in Shadowlands with the new Exile's Reach. This new tutorial island type of deal does a very, very good job at getting new players into the game. And I kind of just want to discuss what you can expect from this new experience, as well as my thoughts on it, and just kind of let you guys know what things do I think could be added, what things could probably be improved upon, and just what I liked. So if you don't want any spoilers, maybe you want to bypass this one, but if you don't mind and just want to see what you're going to be getting into as a new player, then this video is going to have you covered. So when you go into the game, you're going to be able to choose your starting zone. You're going to want to go to Exile's Reach. That is the new player experience. You are then met with a cutscene, which, kind of just tells you that you're a member of whatever faction you're on, and, just kind of gets you into the whole story of you're a member of a faction, you're on a boat, and, we are going to find lost expedition members. Now you're going to start off talking to, I'm going to speak from the Horde perspective. You're going to talk to Grimax here, who is going to start getting you into the very, very basics of combat. Now I'm on a mage for this tutorial run, which the tutorial actually didn't take too long. All in all, the entire thing took me about a little under an hour. All things considered, it really wasn't too bad. So you basically go through and you practice your first skill, and then you go and you actually spar with somebody to get used to targeting an NPC, and see what happens when you actually attack somebody. And it just does a really good job at introducing you to the game from the very basics of combat. So once that guy is finally taken down, you're going to basically, the ship is going to crash. And once the ship crashes, it's every MMO stereotypically, the boat crashes, you're on a deserted island, and now what do we do? And the first thing that they have you do is they have you go kill some Murlocs, and they kind of give you a good little tip. I mean, I know it might seem small, but they give you a tip about Murlocs that I feel like, a lot of new players may struggle with, where it's, be careful, only attack a certain amount at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself attacking too many at once, because they can swarm you really, really quickly. They just start kind of giving you a lot of little pieces of advice right off the bat. They also do have you go through a bunch of different types of quests. You're not just doing only killing, only fetching. They introduce you to a bunch of different quest types just to get used to what you're going to experience when playing World of Warcraft. And another thing I do say that I really like about Exile's Reach, and you're going to see as we continue through this tutorial here, is that there's an actual story. You don't feel like you're just doing random quests for the sake of doing random quests. It feels like everything that you're doing, as simple as the task may be, actually has a purpose. And I really, really enjoy that. So once you turn in the quest from the Murlocs, you're eventually going to go and heal your allies. You need to heal some allies here and just kind of get them back up and back into the fight. And then once you're done, Grimax is going to take you to like the next, like a little area here. This is going to be like the next part. You have to go to a little camp where there's going to be an injured troll there, and you have to basically help nurse them back to health. So you're going to kill some animals and just get some meat to help, feed your allies and whatnot, and get everybody's energy levels back up. Nothing really crazy here. This is just a simple gather and kill and gather quest. So once you do that and you level up, They're going to talk about how there's a quill boar threat on the island. They pose a greater threat than the Murlocs we've been fighting, and we're going to need to get through them if we want to get to where our allies are. But before we go to the quill boar, we are going to learn a lesson from sparring with Grimmax. Now, I am on a mage, and so basically what this part of the thing is going to do, this part of the tutorial, is it's actually going to teach you how to use your skills in like a proper order and a proper fashion. I thought all you had to do was kill Grimmax, and I was actually doing it wrong. I'm out here blinking around. I am using Frost Nova to keep her in place, but instead what it's trying to teach you is the benefits of using a slow casted skill or hard casted skill and then using an instantaneous skill. So it shows you, and it has you repeat it a couple of times. So it sends you back from your target. You go, you can use Frostbolt as a mage. The tutorial will be different if you're on a different class, but again, just teaching you the basics. Use Frostbolt. When the target gets close to you, I'm going to use Fire Blast, and just showing the benefits of using hard casted skills and then when to switch to instants. So I already like that so far. We've had 3 different combat lessons specifically through NPCs and NPC dialogue. You know, it's one of the biggest things that I've always seen talking to new players coming into WoW is they kind of feel a little overwhelmed when it comes to the buttons and binds. So having these nice little tutorials, and there's going to be even more as we go through the tutorial island, I think is a very, very good thing. And so once you kind of get through that, you're going to need to go to the next part. You're going to actually have to fight the Quillboar now. You're going to go speak to this Blood Elf up here. And we're just going to basically have to quell the Quillboar threat. So basically what is going to be is we have to rescue like a goblin that's being held captive by the big boss Quillboar. And then you just have to kill a bunch of other ones just to kind of again, kind of cull the herd a little bit here. So once you kill a bunch of Quillboar and actually kill the big final boss guy, you are then going to move on to the next part with that goblin you saved, who, you know, then meets Brekka. They have a little bit of dialogue. You turn in your quests and you get a little bit of gear. And a cool thing along the way as you're doing this quest is it does eventually outfit you in almost full green gear, and you do leave this tutorial island at like level 9 or level 10. So it really sets you on a good path to get into Battle for Azeroth if you're a brand new player, or if you are a returning player or just somebody who's been playing and leveling up a new character, you can then go into whatever expansion content you want, which I will show later on how to actually do that. So at this point, you're going to have to use like a little device here that the goblin has, like a little flying device. And again, it's going to show you kind of what it's like to have a, what's it called? The extra action bars, where you get the specific bars based off certain types of quests and you have skills. And one thing that I really do like from this tutorial island as well is it's a lot more heavily voice acted. There's a lot of cutscenes. Again, you really feel ingrained with the story here, and that's something that I know even other players who I've talked to that have come to WoW, they're like, oh, you know, the quests aren't voice acted. And while granted, not everything is voice acted, and you know, because this is still WoW, it's just not that way, and there's still plenty of reading if you do want to read the quests details and whatnot. They do a really good job at voice acting plenty to make it feel like there's a consistent narrative, even if you do skip through all of the reading. So I really, really do enjoy that. So basically what you're going to do after you kind of scout that out is you're going to use this device that Cork has, and you're going to test it on a bunch of boar, and you realize, hey, this thing can actually be a weapon. And then you go and actually use it against a bunch of undead here, because there is an orc here that we need to rescue. It is the warlord's daughter, I believe. We have to rescue her. So we use this, kill a bunch of stuff around it, and then what ends up happening is this thing explodes and we fall to the ground. From there, we actually have our first boss-like encounter. We need to kill this big ogre here who is holding Brekka's daughter hostage, and the fight's not a complete walk in the park. It actually, you know, this guy actually does hit pretty hard, which is kind of nice. I think he does get me down to like 25% health, so it does pose a little bit of a threat. You do sweat a tiny bit, which I think is good. You know, you don't want every quest here to just be a complete walk in the park, so I did enjoy that aspect of that. And so once you take him down, at that point you then meet up with Shuja. Shuja and Brekka have a little bit of dialogue, just talking about what the ogres here on the island have planned, to get a little bit of a cutscene here, which is pretty nice. And then from there, now our new objective here, because the first objective is obviously rescuing Brekka's daughter, but now it is stopping the ogres on the island from resurrecting the great stone dragon.
Yes, just woke up. I'm the Great Stone Dragon.
Or in this case, the Great Bone Dragon. Another thing that I like to, as you are questing through this tutorial-like island, is it does teach you how to use a vendor, how to buy things, how to sell things. You also do get, when you leave this island, you have a full set of very basic bags. It just does a really good job at teaching you a lot of the basics of WoW, and they really outdid themselves on this tutorial. I know I'm like I'm giving Blizzard a lot of praise here, but this is always one of my biggest criticisms when it comes to MMOs, and I really like the job that they did here. So the next part of what you're gonna have to do is you have a couple of different quests that you need to do here. You need to help Shuja out with something, and then you also need to help out this undead over here. You need to help out Lana, and basically you're going to be rescuing people from various threats on the island. So basically you're going to go down into this little hole in the ground here, and you're going to rescue various horde soldiers from the spider webs, and you are going to kill this guy down here who is holding a druid hostage. So we're basically just going to take care of that guy, and we are going to rescue the druid, who is then we are going to ride back up and out as this place is like basically exploding, and then we are going to turn in the quest. And then from there, we are going to go over to Shuja and help her out. Now, in this part, we are basically going to be killing harpies, and we are going to be destroying harpy effigies. And then we do need to save Herbert. One little thing that I do just want to toss in here is that I'm really like impressed with the new character models, especially like the undead models. Mr. Herbert here is an undead. And I really do like the new undead character models that are coming with the pre-patch character customizations. They did a really good job. And another thing I do like about the tutorial island too, and kind of the whole questing thing, is they do have a good bit of humor sprinkled in as well. And I just really appreciate the detail and the work that did go into this. So once you do free Herbert, he is going to go back to that little camp that you were at. Well, actually, you have to go here and turn in quests to Herbert and Bo. Bo kind of gave you a quest when you also met up with Shuja. Then Shuja has you go back to camp, but do keep in mind, because I made this mistake when I was running around on the tutorial island, there is a quest right to, if you're like facing Shuja's direction when you're walking. So I guess I'll just use cardinal directions. It's straight to the east. There was a light spawn to the east whose quest you do need to do, I believe, to get the quest unlocked. It did kind of have like a little mini bug where like the quest showed at Brecca and then it didn't, and so I was like, okay, maybe I need to do the light spawn. So I would just do the light spawns quest here. This guy it's like I said, east of where Shuja is located when she's on the hill. I just recommend doing this quest real quick because it is what allowed me to unlock the next step. Plus you do get a very helpful speed buff because there's a little bit of a ground that you need to cover here when you're on Exile's Reach here, so having that little speed boost does help quite a lot. So when you finish freeing the light spawn, he's going to give you that speed boost, and you are going to go back to Herbert, who is then going to send you to get a tome out of the water. You're going to go and grab that and then bring that back to him. Now I'm a mage, so in this part of the tutorial, he's going to show me how to use another one of my skills. So if you're a different class, you're going to probably get something different here. But for me as a mage, he's going to show and explain the benefits of polymorph, the benefits of CCing a target. And so what's going to happen is that Herbert is going to bring like an orc out here, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to run over to them, and he just like I said, he explains the benefits of polymorphing a target. So basically in this case, as a mage, polymorphing a target completely crowd controls them, takes them out of the fight, and allows you to just fight one target at a time. He also explains that if you do hit the polymorphed target, it will break. So I'm really happy that already the game has explained how, you know, the class's CCs works. It has explained how to combine hard casted and instant cast skills, already how to use a vendor. We've already gotten quite a good bit of tutorial just outside of actually even playing. And as you've been leveling up, you're getting new skills are being placed on your bars. So far, it's done a really good job at teaching. I really don't have any major criticisms. The biggest criticism I have, and it's not even a really big one, is actually kind of near the end when we're in a little mini dungeon scenario. Now this quest over here, there's like a kill quest that requires 3 players, does not need to be done. You can skip that one if you do choose to, and I did choose to. If you're playing with some friends, you want some extra XP and rewards, you can feel free to do that quest. But yeah, like I was saying, it does give you like a little bit of a like a dungeon, like an NPC simulated dungeon, which I think is really cool to show you the basics of what a tank is, how a healer is going to play a role, what you should be doing as a damage dealer. And I'll show you what my like only big criticism of this little tutorial island is when we actually get to it. So now the next part is that we are going to be transformed into an ogre to basically bring our party here into the ogre's camp, because basically we want to kind of rescue our, like, the commander of our forces at this point. He's being held hostage. So what we do is we kind of run into the camp here, and we actually have to go over to the leader of the camp, and we have to wave to him and just be like, hey, what's up, homie? We're here. I got some prisoners. I'm chilling. I'm an ogre. So you go and you do that real quick. You do need to stand pretty close to him. I waved like a billion times, like just like a slightly too far away. You have to get like right up in his face and wave. I guess he doesn't see very well. So you got to get right up there, you wave, and then you take them up to this guy all the way at the top, and you're going to get a bunch of new quests. And at this point, you basically just need to kind of cull the ogres, kill a bunch of the ogres. You need to gain these things to actually break your commander out of the prison that kind of is binding him. And you also want to destroy catapults, just again to weaken the ogres hold on like this area basically. So we're going to kill, there's like I said, there's like I think 3 guys that we need to kill in order to get these tomes basically to free our commander here. So I'll just kind of skip that part. So we kill ogres, destroy catapults, and then we kill the 3 guys we need for the pieces that we need to actually break up the warlord. And then once that is done, we go back up and we actually free him. Once he's freed, we are going to get our scenario. So it does show us how to actually queue for a scenario or basically a dungeon, which I think is really, really nice. And so basically you queue for that, and it actually does stick you in a party with somebody else, because it is something you have to actually queue for, and you are stuck with another person. So basically you have somebody that acts as a tank. Brekka acts as a tank. I believe Shuja acts as like a healer / DPS, and then you are also a DPS as well. And then you also do have a another player with you that acts as a DPS. Now in this encounter here, Brekka literally says, I'm gonna go in, get their attention, and once I have them attacking me, you attack them. And I really like that because it's showing the basic flow of a dungeon party and how a dungeon party works. And this to me is such a great thing. I know to many players it might be like, why is this such a big deal to you? And it's because while a lot of us have played MMOs for a long time, we understand the Holy Trinity, we understand the basics of how a dungeon party or an MMO party works. A lot of players who have never played MMOs before, they don't know the terminologies, they don't know the roles. And so having just even such a basic tutorial that has NPC dialogue that explains how this is going to work, I think is a really cool thing. Now, this is my only criticism is during this little scenario here, I tried to attack something without like Brekka going and aggroing it first, and I would have loved and would love to see Blizzard add a voice line for if you attack before Brekka does. I would love for her to say, hey, let me get their attention first, you know, fall back, wait for me to get their attention first, and then go in and strike. Just basically some sort of error dialogue that says like, hey, let me grab their attention. I think that would be super, super smart and just a really, really nice kind of like addition to this little dungeon tutorial. And the cool thing is that as you're going through this scenario, the final boss of this encounter too actually does drop some blue quality gear, so you have the ability to get some loot from this little dungeon too, to kind of show you like, hey, you know, when you kill a boss, you get some nice loots. So basically what happens is as you kind of go through this and you're killing a bunch of ogres, you also go and kill Tunk up here, and you take him down, and the warlock gets the loot out of this, and unfortunately I don't feel bad. But you get like a little mini boss even before you get to the final boss. And so once we climb all the way to the top, we have Gorgorath up here, who's getting ready to summon the Great Bone Dragon, and he is going to be our second boss in this encounter. And so we fight him. He summons some ads as well, again kind of showing, you know, basic boss mechanics. You have to take down ads, and then you fight the boss. And as you can, and another thing that happens on the Exile's Reach that I really like is that throughout the entirety of it, you get a variety of mechanics that really teach you good player mechanics and player habits. Like there's fights where there's AoEs on the ground that tells you, hey, you need to sidestep out of this. You know, it shows you there's a big purple AoE in the ground. Don't stand in this. It just teaches a lot of really good habits to new players, and just the basic thing that all DPS don't do. Teach you, don't stand in the fire. You know, teaching people that from day one, right off the bat, really, really beneficial thing in my opinion. So once you take down Gorgorath, you're going to actually need to fight the dragon here. And then you just basically, you fight them. She does like I think like a conal breath attack that you basically just need to dodge. And as long as you do that, you're pretty much fine. But basically you just take down the dragon, and this is your first experience with basically a dungeon, which I really, really like. And after that, you loot the dragon and you're good. And so that basically is the end of the Exile's Reach tutorial. But this actually is not where our story ends in terms of Blizzard teaching new players some mechanics. So once you leave here with your basically full green gear, you got all your bags and stuff, you're going to take a flight path out of here. You're going to fly, go back to Orgrimmar, and it just warns you, you know, once you leave here, you can't come back. And when you fly back, you go to Orgrimmar, and it tells you about the Horde. It explains the Horde. It talks about what Orgrimmar is and what it represents for the Horde. I'm sure it would do the exact same thing for the Alliance, talking about Stormwind. And so it just gives you a little bit of an introduction to your faction and tells you what you signed up for. Once you land, you talk to Brekka, who then tells you to go talk to Cork. And then you talk to him and you get to learn the basics of navigating a capital city. So Cork is going to say, hey, you know, this city is huge. We need to get you a mount, you know, so that you can move around. And it says we need to go to the stables. I don't know where the stables are. Ask this guard where the stables are. And, you know, it's such a little thing. You know, it's like a little touch to add something like that. But to me, it really goes such a long way. So basically then you say, Cork, I know where this is. So then you go and you do have to manually run, and you run with Cork to the stables, and he just kind of talks about Orgrimmar for a little bit and the importance of what it represents to the Horde. But then once you get to the stable master, you need to get your mount. So you talk to the stable master and say, hey, though, before I can give you this mount, you do need to learn apprentice riding. And so you go to the riding trainer, you learn apprentice riding, and then from there you're able to go complete the quest and get your mount. Now, at this point, you're able to get a specialization. You will be level 10 by the end of this quest, which is when you can pick your spec. And from there, it teaches you, you know, these are what specializations are. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your mount, and you're going to run to your class trainer for whatever your class is. Again, I am playing a mage, so I am going to talk to my this mage trainer here, and it's going to say, you know, explain, these are what the different specs are. This is what an arcane mage is. This is what a fire mage is. This is what a frost mage is. And then from there, you get to basically pick your spec, and you will officially be, you know, whatever spec you chose. For this, you know, little example here, I just chose fire mage. Then you speak to Cork, and you're going to learn how to set a home inn. So basically, you're going to go and set an inn as your actual home, and it explains to you the basics of how the Hearthstone works. Then you go, you set the inn as your home right here, and then from there, you're gonna get a quest giver that comes up and says, hey, you've been summoned to Gromash Hold. And so you're going to go and take your mount, go speak to Sylvanas, and then from there, you will be starting the Battle for Azeroth questline. You're going to talk to Brekka. They're going to say, hey, you know, I brought a recruit here. Sylvanas is going to, you know, say a bunch of things and a bunch of stuff. Nathanos is going to tell you he just needs you to be useful. And then you speak to him and you say, I'm going to make my way to the rendezvous point. And from there, you will be getting into the Battle for Azeroth storyline and getting into the questing and the leveling experience before Shadowlands. Now, if you are a returning player or a current player who already has leveled up through the game, you are able to, instead of leveling through Battle for Azeroth again, level through any expansion you want to. And you're just going to want to speak to Chromie near the Orgrimmar Embassy, and it will allow you to basically step back into time and quest through any one of the expansions that you want to quest through. So I did just kind of want to make this video to showcase you guys what the new Exile's Reach and leveling experience would look like, what it does include, and what you will learn along the way. To me, this is one of the best things I've seen added to an MMO in a while in terms of the new player experience, and I'm really impressed with what Blizzard did. And like I said, I honestly don't have any large criticisms for this tutorial island. I think it does a really good job overall at getting new players into the game and explaining some stuff. I mean, obviously it is an MMO. There's so many more systems beyond what this explained, which again is why I have my complete beginner guide. You can check that link in the description below. Even though it was made in BFA, it will be still totally relevant in Shadowlands. But in terms of the experience that Blizzard gave to new players here, like I said, my only little nitpick thing is that I do wish that in that little dungeon experience that they put you on, that they would have yelled at you if you went and aggroed stuff without the tank actually going and doing it. But overall, very impressed. Blizzard did a great job with it, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to exploring this brand new tutorial island, the new Exile's Reach, coming out tomorrow with the pre-patch. So if you guys did like this little walkthrough of Exile's Reach, I'd appreciate if you left a like on it. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of Exile's Reach and the new player experience coming with Shadowlands. And guys, of course, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with stuff coming about World of Warcraft Shadowlands, my opinions and thoughts on some of the new systems and changes coming with the expansions, and some cool PvP content eventually when Shadowlands does come out. We're going to be doing tons of arenas, tons of battlegrounds, and there's just going to be lots of great WoW content coming to the channel. So thank you all so much for stopping by and watching. I very much appreciate it. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.